Okay, so let's start with group 4. This is Jonathan's work. Jonathan's working on a Swiss roll cake. This looks like the denotative and the connotative below. So let's critique this work. Jonathan, I think this looks good. However, there are some fixes that need to be made. It's nice that we started to play around with the type here and just overall scale. However, I feel like the text over here is starting to fill up a little too much of the space. I need a little bit of white space to breathe a little more. So what I recommend is we make this text a little bit smaller than the rest of the text over here for the ingredients. Usually speaking, we get to see the text with a lot more sentences and paragraphs, a tiny bit smaller than the ingredients list, so that way we can differentiate the two. That way, I think we can also get some space around this area here. Okay, I'd also like for you to think about this area where you're starting to use the words, and maybe those could be some sort of alignment tool for you, where it says Swiss over here, and then the roll somehow can align to certain areas of your layout. So that way we can get a little bit more sense of intention. So think about that. This is for your connotative. One thing I would just recommend is justifying the text. You always get rivers like that, and you want to avoid that because it just tends to have unnecessary spaces created. So I would recommend you align to the left. I know you want to center things because your overall layout is centered, but this is really not helping your layout. So that's what I would recommend for your text. I would also recommend the same thing I said over here where the text can go a little bit smaller. Alright? And not a fan of the upside down type. If we can reverse that and just create it upside, just to make it read a little bit more better, that'd be a lot better. I think where it says powder and right where you have the 7.5 ounces, you can read this, but then when we start to get into marshmallow, we start to get a little bit more in the illegible space. So think about that a little bit more. Okay? Let's go to Gisela. Gisela, this looks good. However, I would like to recommend a few things for you. You don't need to add the word denotative. You can get rid of that. This is a nice typeface you chose. However, I think we can get this to be a little bit smaller. And I think you can make this a little bit bigger, just so that we can separate the two pieces of information a little bit more. Okay? I don't think the word yummy here is helping your layout. If you want to do something with a word like this, maybe look at the alignment that you've created for this recipe card. So take a look at these lines as a way to align your overall page. So the bottom top of SE, the top of C and A, the top of K and E, and the bottom of it. So really use that as a grid to reinforce your overall alignment for your preparation lines and also for your ingredients lines. Let's move to your connotative. Again, you don't need to put the word connotative. You can get rid of that. Just need to make sure that this says tasty, not taxi. So just some edit for that spelling it. And then I like where we're going with how you're choosing to assemble the ingredients and preparation almost like a cake. However, you want to make sure that the alignment is proportional. So what I would recommend, if you're going for this type of diagonal, that it matches overall. I'm seeing a different angle here that I see here and here and here. So let's try to use one angle consistently throughout. Okay? I would be careful with how much you're distorting the text over here. It's starting to become a little bit difficult to read. Okay? Things like ingredients, I would say, and preparation, let's try to align those somehow to either the bottom of some sentence. Like, I think this one might need a little bit more alignment, so does ingredients. The title is a little too bold and clunky. Let's see if we can create a little bit more space. Or if you want to choose to put those on a diagonal, you can as well. But let's just align with purpose. Okay. So for this one over here, sorry, I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna guess it's Danielle's maybe. Just be careful with how close your text is getting to areas like this. This is nice, how this follows a specific path, the round path. And you want to be careful when you start to get to upside down text. I am not a fan of upside down text. I'd rather read things, still be able to read them smoothly. This is nice, where we get to see the slice over here. Just make this right side up. So the taste of it, maybe this can read the taste of it, and it's not upside down. So little things like that. I also think these areas right here are not really helping your layout, where it says the filling, the instructions, and the topping. So what I would like to recommend is you put this in a circular format, similar to what you did over here. And I think this would help create a more considered approach, and also something that is more purposeful. Because when we're starting to angle this text this way, it's creating too many moves, right? Like a line to the right, a line to the left, and center, just way too many. So let's just stick to the circular format that you've created here very nicely. We're just careful over here, careful when your text is touching here, and I would say stop in the areas where it says like for and cheese. Start right here, because we're starting to get into upside down text right here. And I would say the same for eggs and cheesecake. That would be your limit. Then we start to get, illegible areas. Okay? But overall, looks nice. For your connotative, I think this has definitely gotten a improvement with every round you've been going through. The text is looking a little too wobbly here. We just kind of fix some of those areas and make them a bit more clean. Okay? I like the space that you've created here and here. Here it's touching the type, so let's make sure we don't do that. And make sure that your overall diagonals aligned. You have the right angle. This looks like a different angle than this one and this one does, so just a little bit more consistency. And I'd like for these areas right here to align with the instructions. Right now, this little indent here is not really helping, or this outdent. So to be a little bit more considered with our alignment. Okay? But overall, I think this looks nice. I like that you've illustrated this as a slice, a decadent slice, with little embellishes. Okay? I hope this helps you guys. We're going to be making one more round, and then we're going to be moving on to something else. And I will see your updates next week.